Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Mrs. Taylor's math class. So, tonight we are going to do some more GED sample math questions. But before we get started on that, I did have one question to come in today, and I wanted to get that done for uh, the person who asked the question. So let's go ahead and get started. So for this first question here, this came from my YouTube site, and a person is asking, could you explain how to solve quadrilateral with sides 75, 102, 75, and 12x plus 12? Now, this is all the information that I received from the person, so I'm going to be assuming some things. So, the first thing I'm going to assume is that this quadrilateral is a parallelogram. That's what I'm going to assume. If it is a parallelogram, one of the characteristics of a parallelogram is that the opposite sides are congruent and parallel. So, I'm going to say that this side here is 75, this side is 75, this side is 102, and this side is 12x plus 12. Now, if this is a parallelogram, then that means that I'm doing this, of course. I'm doing it like this. Those are the markings for parallelogram or congruent sides. So what I'm going to do is, since the opposite sides are congruent, I'm going to set these two quantities equal to each other. So I'm going to say 12x plus 12 is equal to 102. Subtract 12 from both sides, get a zero pair. We have 12x is equal to 90. Divide both sides by 12. And so x is equal to, I have the calculator out. Hold on, y'all. Let me see. 90 divided by 12. Let's do it one more time. 7.5. Now, I am, again, this is all the information that this person gave me. So I'm going to say this is how I would solve it if this was the case. Of course, they can let me know later if this was the case. Of course, they didn't send a picture. This is all the information they gave me. So that's it. That's all. So let's get into our GED questions. The first question here says, this pie chart describes the market share of 5 brands of cleaner based on a survey of 300 shoppers in New York. So it says, which brands have about the same market share? So with this, all you're doing is looking to see what looks like it's the same size. Clearly, there's nothing the same size as B. So anything with B in it, we can just get rid of. Now you're left with C and E and A and D. So C and E are clearly two different sizes. A and D look about the same. So we're going to pick A and D. Okay, next question. This question says, of course, we're using the same pie chart and the same scenario. So the question here says, 45 of the shoppers purchased D. How large is the sector angle for D? Okay, so this going to require a little bit of math. So when they talk about a sector, they're talking about basically a piece of pie. Not a piece of pie, a piece of pie. So if you look at D, I want to know how much area is this. And so in order to find this out, or how many degrees this angle is, in order to find this out, hold on for a sec, guys. One moment. Okay, sorry about that. So, in order to find this out, I have 300 total shoppers, and they say 45 shoppers selected D. So the first thing I'm going to do is find out what percent that is. So 45 over 300. And why does that look like a 3 to me? Let's write that again. 45 over 300. Okay, then I'm going to multiply this by 360 degrees. Okay. The first one would give me the percent of people who chose D, and then I have to take that percent and figure out how many degrees of 360 degrees is that percent. So, 45 divided by 300, and that gets me 0.15 times 360 degrees. Gets me 54 degrees. And this is the choice here. Okay, let's keep going. For this question, of course, we're using the same pie chart. The question says, the angle for B is 198 degrees. How many shoppers purchase B? So, in order to do this, we got to do like basically the opposite now. So, I'm going to do 198 degrees, and that's out of 360 degrees because that's how many total degrees are in a circle, or one revolution of a circle. Once I find out that percentage, I need to multiply that by the number of shoppers and total shoppers, which is 300. So let's do 198 divided by 360. That's going to give me 0.55 times 300. 300 shoppers, so that's going to give me 165 shoppers. Okay, next question. There is a 12% sales tax. The pre-tax cost of a mobile phone is $280. What is the tax payable on this mobile phone? So, in order to figure out sales tax, you just have to multiply it by the total cost. So, we have $280 times 12%. You can rewrite percents as decimals, 0.12, or if you know percents are all out of 100. If you didn't know that, you could do this and then do it in your calculator, and you would get the 0.12. Just a side note. So to calculate this sales tax, it would be 280 times 12%, or 0.12, and you get $33.60. And there's our answer. All right, let's keep going. So for this question here, it says, given the formula A equals S squared plus 3B minus C, find the value of A when S is 7, B is 13, and C is negative 24. So I'm going to rewrite the equation here, or the formula. And then I'm going to replace the variables with the number. So A is what we're looking for. S is 7, so this is going to be 7 squared plus 3, and B is 13, and then minus C, which is negative 24. Please be careful, because some people will put this negative, will not include this negative. They'll think that this minus sign is the negative that goes in front of 24, and that is not so. So be careful about that. So to solve it, 7 squared is 49. 3 times 13 is 39. And then you have a negative times a negative, which is going to turn into a positive 24. Now the last part is just to add everything up. And so 49 plus 39 is going to get me 88 plus 24. And so the value of A is 112. All right, let's keep going. So it says the circle below is divided into 8 equal sectors. If a sector is chosen at random, what is the probability that the sector contains B or C? Okay, so probability, it's like, oh God, it's really like percent, like part over whole. So the part that is B, first off, they said there are 8 pieces. So let's say the probability of B. So B occurs 4 times. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it occurs 4 times out of 8. C occurs 1 time out of 8. They want to know if I have B or C. So what is the probability of choosing B or C? And in this case, it would be 5 out of 8. Or, this is when you would do it in your calculator. If you divide 5 divided by 8, you get 0.625. And you can change that to a percent by multiplying by 100. If I multiply this by 100, I get 62.5%, which is here. Okay, let's keep going. For the next question, it says a wage sheet of a small business shows one employee's details. The employee is paid $40 an hour for overtime hours where they work more than their usual 26 hours. So you have employee ABC. The rate per hour is $25. The normal hours are 26 hours. And then anything extra, overtime hours, will be paid $40. So for this particular paycheck, this employee received $850. So we have to set up the equation. So you have to make it make sense to you. Pretend like this was your money. So what would you do? Okay, if I work 26 hours, I get paid $25 an hour. I'm going to say $25 times 26 hours. Okay, then I know I worked some overtime, so plus X is going to be my overtime money, and that's the total money is going to equal $850. So we need to figure out, well, how many hours was the overtime. So let's do the calculations. $25 times 26 hours, that is $650. Plus my overtime money is going to equal $850. Subtract $850 from both sides. You probably can see right now that it's an additional $200, but I'll go ahead and do the math. This will show you, further examples of solving equations. So this would be $200. So X is $200, but that does not answer our question. The question says, what number should replace X? And X is equal to the overtime hours. So overtime hours we know if we have $200 and we know we get paid $40 an hour, we could divide, and that is going to get us 5 hours of overtime. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, which of these is true? Well, since you have a calculator, you could just go ahead and put this into the calculator. But what we have here is the square root. So this case you have forgotten the terminology. We have the square root of -3. That is how you read. This is what you would say. You would say square root of -3. That is what this is. Okay? And just so you know, this is the radical sign. Okay? Usually the information on the inside is called a radicand. Okay? And yeah, that's pretty much all you need to know right here. And then of course you have your degree here. Not, is it called degree? I'm getting my terminology. Your index. This is the index number. Okay? Now, most people say, oh, it's the square root. Okay, this root could be anything. It could be a cube root. It could be the 5th root. It could be the 8th root. But typically most people say square root. I get it, but the correct terminology is the index. Okay, so let's keep going. So if nothing is in the index, it is understood to be the square root. So the square root of -3, you can put them in the calculator. If you did this problem here, and I think you should do the problem just so you can see what's going on. I'm trying to get my calculator right. So if I have -3, where's the negative sign? Oh, there it is. And then I take the square root of that number. I get an error message in my calculator. So that ought to be an indication to you that something is wrong. So the answer is not going to be negative, it's not going to be positive, and it's not going to be an integer. It's going to be undefined. Okay? So actually it's not a real number. It's an imaginary number, but we don't need to get into all of that. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, so it says Chong thinks of a number, adds 10, then multiplies the number, so this multiplies the number so obtained by 3 and gets 42. If the number is n, then write an equation for this. So let's work through this again. He has a number, so we don't know the number. He adds 10 to it. Then he multiplies the number obtained by 3. So whatever this number is, n minus 10, we're going to multiply this by 3. Multiply by 3. And then gets 42. So he gets 42. So that is what it's saying. So which answer choice this looks like? It's going to be A. Alright, next question. So for this one here, it says the graph below is part of the graph of the function capital T is equal to lowercase t plus 1 and times lowercase t minus 3 for the temperature in a refrigerator for time t hours after midday. So it says which set of lowercase t values is the temperature below 0. So below 0, we can pick. Now, first off, I guess on this website here, They have some issues with how they displaying their answers. Um, but I would display it like this. T is equal to -1. And T is equal to 3. So I would have picked answer choice B. I'm assuming that they were going to, maybe, I don't know. The way they have the answers written is kind of funky, so this is what it should be. But this here, I don't know what's going on. So anywho, that is it for tonight. I only had a couple of questions I wanted to come on and do for you. Again, this is the GED practice test that I got off of testguide.com. This is their practice quiz number 4. If you are interested in me doing some more questions on GED, just let me know. If you know someone who is in need of help for the GED, send them my way. Let them see my videos. I will answer any questions they have. As you can see, someone came on earlier today. Well, they emailed me earlier today on my YouTube page, and they needed help with a problem. I don't have a problem doing problems for people, because I know that math is a difficult subject, and sometimes it is difficult to understand. And people need somebody in their life they can call on to break down a question. So I am that person. So thank you for attending Mrs. Taylor's math class, and I will see you next Monday night for another video. Bye-bye. Ta-ta for now.